Okay, you're live now, but I guess the session will start in 3 minutes. Okay, you're live now, but I guess the session will start in 3 minutes.
Okay, good morning, Wale. Thank you for joining us for another session with United Capital PLC. I don't know if you should wait for like 2-3 minutes before we start, just so that we can have more people come join us before we kick off.
All right,
Is
then.
that fine?
That's good. That's good.
Hello?
Yeah, that's good. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Hi, Amajola, can you hear me? Hello, can you hear me?
Hello? I'm so sorry. My network took me out. Hello? Hello?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah. Hello, Wale?
I can hear you. Amajola, I can hear you.
Yeah.
I can hear you. Loud and clear.
So much. Okay, that's fine. Thank you very much, everyone, for joining us to discuss investment. Before we kick off, I would like to discuss my handsome guest here with you all. So Wale Ekudayo is a seasoned marketing and corporate communications expert. He's also the founder and vice president of Cerebral Media. With 25 years experience in marketing and corporate comms, he has amassed vast knowledge in marketing, and corporate communications. As a graduate in microbiology, his love and passion for marketing and corporate comms made him start a career in marketing and corporate comms 25 years ago, where he started working with Lowell Letters, I think the first advertising agency in Nigeria. He has also worked with other local brands where he has served in different capacities, including managing director. The core of his career has always been hinged on delivering original ideas that will add significant value to.
Hello? Hello?
Good afternoon. Hello?
Good morning.
Good morning. I'm sorry, I stumbled upon your number online. I wanted to confirm what you guys are into. Terry.
Oh, wow. Hello, Wale.
I can hear you. Can you hear me? Yeah. Thank you so much for the introduction. I could only hear the introduction. It went off. And then, I couldn't hear the next question. Yeah, I got
it. Hopefully it stabilizes. Okay, just before I go into some of the questions I have here for you, what I have noticed lately is the argument for a digital transformation is now so strong and even more relevant. The global pandemic has have to adjust a restriction in movements and rules. And then we've moved from people, we are all working towards a business transformation that will position us for uncertainties, as well as will help us meet our clients' needs. Okay, so I think this will bring me to my first question, which is, why is digital transformation so important, and what are the benefits to brands?
Right. So essentially, there are quite a lot of good in what we've been able to pioneer over the last couple of years. Interestingly, a lot of people begin to ask questions like, so it feels like, the entire Corona experience and all of that was made for you, all right? And, for the life of me, it's be on the back foot, when we started out, it was more of, traditional advertising, was more of, having to buy media, with TV and radio and all of those things. Now, by reason of what has happened, clearly all of the things we've been advocating for prior to this time is now like confronting every single one of us, all right? I could remember we got about 4 different briefs during Corona, and people were asking, how are you going to be able to help in terms of getting our messages across to people? It was easy for us because we had built channels, we had built, we have tested messages, over a long period of time that we know, would work. So in terms of transformation, it's been on. And, in the tree where you have early adopters, so there are brands who have adopted digital as far back as, 20 years ago, all right? There are brands who are on the back foot right now, who are trying to sort of play catch up with the entire conversation. By and large, I think it's come to disrupt everybody's lives. And whether we like it or not, we are probably going to see more of these things. So you would imagine immediately after Corona, a lot of people are going to to the bank to queue, and definitely you will begin to see what's the people who had adopted digital, earlier, they could do banking on the go, they could do quite a lot of things on the go, compared to the people who, who haven't done that and they are being forced to do that right now. So it's an interesting time, and it will continue to be an interesting time even into the future. Hi, Amojola. Hello.
Hello.
Hi, Amojola. Yeah.
Oh, yes. I don't know what is wrong with my network today. It doesn't want us to shine now. Okay. So what has changed really? Why is digital the new strategy for competing brands?
Right. It's the new strategy because brick and mortar, as we know it, has made our lives completely changed. So, for instance, the penetration of mobile phones have gone way deeper than it used to be. You get to see, on the average, there are quite a lot of smartphones, in the hands of people, even not necessarily the expensive. So you see quite a lot of, the influx of a lot of mobile phone companies coming into Nigeria and actually basically changing the entire lives of
Hello.
people. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Great, right. So I was saying that, the penetration of mobile phones have actually changed the lives of people. I give you an example. The first time I got a friend request from my mom on Facebook, which was about 5 years ago, that was when I knew that, digital is here to stay. So she's catching up on conversations, family, and all of those things. I realized that, so even the late adopters are actually getting, well, the late adopters are called laggers. They are getting into the flow of the conversation, which is where I knew that, a lot of things have changed. All right. Again, going further with the whole conversation about the USSD integration, you then get to see a lot more people coming on board. So digital has come to transform every single person, make it a lot more easier for every single one of us, such that, we can begin to do business faster, easier, more convenient, and with the new technology that are in place, the security is getting to be more improved than it used to be. I hope that answers that.
Yes, that answers my question. So how is digital transformation changing customer culture?
Primarily, I doubt if customer culture, because we are human beings, we generally resist change. I still know a couple who would not do any transaction online, all right?
Okay.
But then again, you start to see that your life is getting more difficult if you do not conform to that change. I give you an example. If you're going to travel abroad right now, you can actually, pre-book your hotels, flights, and all of those things. If you don't do that, you just show up at any hotel, the tendency that you would not get accommodation is higher because you didn't do all the things you're meant to do, all right, prior to that time, all right? So it's generally in the way we consume conversations and things in general in life. We naturally resist change. Everybody likes status quo. We just like it to be the way it is. As it was yesterday, we want it to continue this way. But things are going to keep forcing us to actually make those changes, all right? I can remember back then, children of these days, for instance, never understand what we went through. I'm sounding like an old person now, back then where we used to queue to watch TV, all right? So there's cable now, so you don't have to struggle to probably put an area outside your house so that you can get connection or transmission on terrestrial TV. Now there's cable and, so some of those transitioning is affecting every single person's life, but humans would not like that change, all right? But over time, with the advent of QR code payments, you're beginning to see some of those conversations right now. And organizations are beginning to do what they call agency banking and all of those things. So all of these conversations are helping humans and every person to transit to the next phase. So the unbanked are becoming banked in a way that they actually don't like it, but eventually they do it.
Okay. What role does digital play in investment?
It plays a lot of roles. A lot of roles. Now, for instance, digital allows us to be able to transact business from here and play in other markets. Let me give you an example. Invest Now, for instance, which is a product of some United Capital, allows you to be able to trade across border. So back then, you know, you can only do, I mean, you have to go through your stockbroker, whatever it is your stockbroker gives to you, you know, that's what you know. It's a knowledge age, it's vast. So a lot of people are dealing in what's it called now, trade and stock outside of Nigeria. And so they are monitoring the conversation. They're seeing how things are being done, and they want to be able to do those things. So before I place a call to my stockbroker, I can actually make that move right now, so long I've funded my account, so long I'm doing all the things that I need to do. So it becomes a lot more easier. So it would be very, very crucial for us. The discipline of it would be very, very crucial in terms of what we need to do, you know.
Okay.
I'm going to say something else, but, you know, let's go to the
Okay. What role does digital also play in wealth creation?
Fantastic. Now, it plays a lot of roles. You know, one of the things that I mean, as a father, for instance, so I teach my children to save, right? And so they have like this thing called colo, right? Which is like a piggy bank, right? So when somebody comes in and drops in money, I mean, gives them money, they can put it into that particular colo, for instance, which is piggy bank, right? Over time, they are getting to understand that, you know, I can do this whole thing digitally. And so is for every adult, right? Because any single person who does not have savings, then you don't have the conversation into the future. So digital allows you to be able to be disciplined, all right? So for instance, on how you spend, you're able to track your spend, you're able to track your inflows, you're able to track the things that you do, especially when you use the digital channels. So for every money that goes out of your account, you get a receipt that, you know, you've spent X amount of naira. When you get an inflow, you get an acknowledgement that has been done. So sort of in a way, you have like a balance sheet, like an accountant that says you've done an inflow, you've done an outflow. At the end of the month, you can say, these are the things that I spent my money on, and I can make investments in different ways.
Okay. Thank you very much, Wale. What are the different levels of digital advancements in organization?
Right. So again, like I explained initially, that there are organizations who are a bit resistant to transformation, but over time, they'll be on the back foot because a lot of people would have advanced. And so the first level is that they are early adopters, which is the fact that some people would be able to. So I give you an example. In an organization that has marketing, that has customer care, for instance, which is relating with customers and consumers and all of that, you've got to be able to automate every single aspect of that. Because where we are right now, it's a very fast-paced conversation. So we call something in marketing called the customer journey. So every organization service customers. So when you service customers, you've got to be able to put them in a funnel of some sort where they come into, and when they come in, you can basically walk them through up onto the point of they actually convert, which is sales, right? Now, that's an aspect of an organization. There's also a digital aspect of an organization which has to do with your administration. Administration in the terms of staff. So you should be able to automate, for instance, your leave. You should be able to automate, you know, your payroll. You should be able to automate what's it called now? Bringing in new staff, which basically has a human resource solution. And some of those things are actually web-based these days. So I'm at home, for instance, all right? As everybody is at home working from home right now, there's a joke online that says they're waiting for the first person who's going to put in their leave leave application, even after this corona, right? But technically, if you're at home, you actually can still put in for a leave. You can say, okay, I want to be on leave, so which means that I'm not going to be working from home. I'm going to be on leave. All right.
Yeah.
So some of those things are things that have got to be considered in the new era that we are in right now. So the fact that you're working from home doesn't mean that you're lazy. It's that, in fact, a lot of people are saying things like, working from home is now even a lot more, what's it called now? Working from home is now a lot more stressful for people because there's actually no closing time. There is no,
I agree.
What's it called now? There's no resumption of some sort. So the conversation is getting a little more interesting, So in terms of what's it called now, digital transformation for organization, you've got to look at the operations of the organization, which has to do with administration. You've got to look at how the organizations get their bottom line done, which is sales. All right. So how do I put in this into this conversation to blow up our sales, our bottom line primarily?
Oh, okay. Thank you very much, Wale. I think my next question will be, what is the value chain of digital for customers, employees, innovation, as well as even advertising?
Right. So I'm going to speak, what you've asked is like a multi-level question. So I'm going to probably just focus on advertising, right? Now, the value chain is a lot more than what advertising in Nigeria, and pardon my expression, they say it's the oldest, what's it called now? Is the advertising is the oldest profession, after prostitution, right? Which means that it's been around for
ever,
right? Now, things are being done in a particular way in advertising, and it's been done that way for God knows how long. I mean, like the first agency that I worked in is over 93 years old, right? Which is Low Linters.
Oh, wow.
Morphed into Mullen Low, all right?
Okay.
Now, the transformation that digital will bring into advertising, and we at Cerebi have started that. So we have what they call, what's it called now? The agency, we call the virtual agency. And we tested some of these conversations, what's it called now, during Corona time. So we get briefs, and then you put it into a particular system that allows multiple people who are already registered on the platform to be able to give you strategy, to be able to give you creatives, to be able to give you copies. Primarily, that's what our life is about, all right? Strategy, copies, creatives, all right? Now, beyond all of those things, we're getting into that age whereby people who have the flair, for instance, will be able to participate in the space that we are in right now without us having to do so much, all right? So you can actually participate, in the funnel, which is the value chain. So there are different levels to advertising right now. Now, the same thing goes even for an investment organization like yours, right? Where the value chain is getting more interesting. Now, every investment organization right now should be talking to a lot of people about the fact that this is the time, this is the right time for you to actually invest. And it's no gimmicks. It's not because that's the value. It's not gimmicks because stocks are down right now, all right?
Yes.
And this is the time. There's no other time for you to buy stocks than now. So some stocks in the US, some stocks in Nigeria are down as a result of Corona, all right? And this is the time for you to be able to plug in into that time, because post-Corona, you're going to see a surge in some of those, what's it called now? You're going to see a surge in some of those stock, and it will probably be too late for anybody to take advantage of it if you haven't taken advantage of it right now. So,
okay, how do we measure? Okay.
Go ahead.
No, okay, no, I think I should let you finish because I have a lot of things going on in my head. Well, let me let you finish, please.
Right. So in terms of value, you're looking at quite a lot of things that can be done, with organizations. But it would require you to actually rework our thinking. Like I said, the first time I said that humans actually do resist change. Some people actually don't even know how to manage themselves. So there are mental challenges that are going on right now. and people will need to be able to recalibrate the entire conversation, all right? So the way we used to, think events. So this is an event, for instance, all right? I doubt it if pre-corona would have done this and people would have been watching, so to speak, right? So for us, in terms of value, we've got to look at all of our products, all the products that we've ever come up with as a result of whatever it is that we've came up with. We need to realign all of those products again to say, do they still have relevance, even as we are speaking right now? So there are a lot more conversations that should be had that will be more interesting to us and for us right now. So in terms of value, extracting value from different organizations, it will be very specific to them, all right? I'm very specific in the sense that, every single one of us have got to start looking at conversations along all of our existing products, all of our existing services, and begin to rework the entire thing.
Oh, wow, thank you for that. Measure digital advancement. Hello,
Yeah,
Ali, can you?
Yeah.
Okay, so I said, how then do we measure digital advancement?
Right. So I think digital advancement is one of the interesting things for us to measure. All right.
Okay.
As much as most people would say things like, "You're just talking, I can't see it." All right. There are metrics. All right. First of all, there are metrics on every end. So, for instance, as we are speaking right now, right, you can say,
yes,
you can check the number of people watching us right now as we speak,
yeah,
all right?
Yeah.
That's some part of measurement. If you want to take the conversation further from in terms of impact, you can say that a lot of people reacted with this particular conversation. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? So
yes, I do.
People are, sending questions. At the end of the day, if, for instance, I'm selling a product, I'm going to measure by the number of people who have joined after this conversation. All right, that's some type of measurement. After this conversation, so you can look at different indices, and the indices are quite clear, and some of those indices are things that you can ordain, so to speak. So prior to this conversation, you can say, we want to do this, we want to do this. These are the things we want to happen. So the way to measure digital transformation is by what do I want to gain, from the entire conversation. So if I'm running an advert, for instance, I'm saying to myself that I want to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Those are the 5 objectives. If those objectives are met at the end of the entire conversation, then we're on the right track. I don't know if you understand what I'm trying to say.
Yes, I understand. So okay, so what are the
campaigns to campaign or differs from your objective based on what you want
to achieve? Okay. What are the risks involved in adopting digital?
One of the major risks is security. I'd always been security. Because some platforms are porous, some are a bit more secure than the other. What everybody might need to get involved in right now are what's it called now, education on what platforms are better than the other. So for instance, in the early days of Zoom, people got hacked easily, all right? And people had issues as to that, all right? So this is not me promoting one platform against the other. So I'm a bit careful not to want to mention one platform than the other.
Okay.
Because we work with the likes of Microsoft. Microsoft is one of our clients, and they use Teams. They feel that Teams is a bit more secure than the other ones. So one of the challenges in this age will be security. One of the challenges is security. But then again, if you do certain things correctly, because one of the things that we have to do, every brand would have to do right now, is that there are different ways in which people can infiltrate your system. So you've got to educate your existing what's it called now, customer base.
Customers. Okay.
So it's a sensitization that we must consistently do. So security is one of the major dangers of digitalization. But I think over time, we'll begin to, just the same way in traditional space, I don't think anybody will go to sleep without locking their doors. Right now. So we've got to then begin to educate every single person on the dangers and the, what's it called now, the use of those systems.
Okay, thank you very much. Well, I think my last question will be, what are some possibly effective digital partnerships that companies can engage in at this time?
So again, I would say that some of these things will be very peculiar or very specific to different organizations. So I give you an example. For us, because of the nature of what we do a lot of partnerships. There are quite a lot of other ones that are coming up right now. So as much as people are going with the mainstream type of people that we already know, like Google, for instance, there are also the people that we should be partnering with right now. If I'm say, I won't mention any mobile name, but mobile producers are actually more powerful now than the likes of the people that we know, because we do quite a lot of things on our phones. Now, with the entire application, there are quite a lot of things on the back end that runs that most people do not have an idea about. And those people are profiling our lives. They actually know when we sleep. So if, for instance, an iPhone can tell you how much time you spend on your screen, all right? It can tell you what application you open more often. Now, because your phone is very personal, I doubt if anyone will go out, without their phone. Have you ever seen anyone who lost the phone? Like in the public, how they display some sort of madness, like what has
worry, yes.
Right? Because your bank is your phone, your investment is your phone, all your contacts are on your phone. I had a friend who, for instance, lost her phone and she couldn't remember anybody's number.
Oh, wow.
She couldn't, because all your contacts on
everything
your phone.
Is
all right. So primarily, I actually feel that the partnerships that people should be making now should be with makers of phones rather, who actually have a lot of data, who actually have a lot of information, because the future of marketing also is even on that. So for us, that's what we're going to be doing, or that's what we're doing right now, which is we're having partnerships with people who are in the mainstream and the forefront of providing applications on the phone so that we can actually profile consumers and actually know what the consumers are doing at different points in time. So I can speak for that. Also, it's going to be very helpful for every single person who is producing anything, who is into services, who is into products, because every single person has a phone.
Okay. Thank you very much, Wale. Do you have any last words for us before I take the questions?
Okay. I think we are in an interesting era. Okay. Extremely exciting because some of the things that we had always wanted to do, all right, in advertising and marketing, we can actually do them now. So there are quite a lot of things on rich media, quite a lot of things on hologram in terms of marketing, even in activation, all right, where you can bring a particular product to life, all right, without saying too much. They are all around us. I personally believe that small medium enterprise have a lot to do in this particular space, and they can try. I think that's my last word.
Okay, so we have one question here, and then it goes, apart from customer public education, what other advice do you have for organizations to reduce digital risk exposure?
Again, aside from that, I can't take away what's called the customer education, but the other side of it is the fact that every organization must take responsibility for their customers. All right. So investing solely in systems that are extremely secure. So there are multi-layer, multi-level securities for what's it called, different solutions, all right, that are available right now. And some of them, depending on your operations and depending on what it is that you're doing, you can avail yourself with some of those things. So organizations must also take responsibility for every single customer's, what's it called now, security, all right? Which is the fact that they need to be able to protect them. And protecting them means that they're investing in some level of high-level technology so that, you know, their systems cannot be, I mean, it's not porous enough for people to infiltrate.
Oh, wow. Okay. It's really been an interesting conversation with you. I don't think we have any more questions. Okay. But what we'll do is, if there are more questions, we'll send it across to you, and then we can put it on our social media whereby the person can access the information.
All right. Thank you so much, Jola.
Thank you. It was nice speaking with you. Thank you very much, Wale. Yeah. Have a wonderful day. Bye.